And we're live. Welcome to Josh and Aaron Talk About Stuff. I'm Josh.
I'm Aaron.
Welcome to the show. Programming note, this is the season finale of our first season, talking about music. So
Right on.
it feels like we've been doing it for a long time.
It does. We've been doing this for a bit now.
So we'll have a 2-week break, and then
come back and talk about the.
We're gonna do season 2 is gonna be the social issues in America, the real big, meaty, serious stuff.
Oh man. Oh jeez.
Then we'll get so seasons as well are going to be 5 weeks long instead of this massive 10-week one. We didn't know what we were getting into when we did it.
Yeah, right.
We're not going to have any part A's or B's. It's just going to be
one episode, 2 episodes a week.
2 episodes a week for 5 weeks, and then 2-week break in between season 3, which we'll get more to that later down the road. All right. So we're going to attempt to talk about modern music, 2000 to now. If it's good enough to stand up to the test of time of all the good music we like and have talked about. But
right, exactly.
So I guess
just a quick note. They just announced the Hall of Fame class.
Right.
And you saw it.
Foo Fighters, that class, or I don't.
Yeah, so they officially announced it's like Tina Turner, the Foo Fighters. Again, Rage Against the Machine gets snubbed. That just really bothers me. That's the one that bugged me. Yeah. A lot of people are bothered that Iron Maiden still getting snubbed. Whatever.
Yeah,
Rock and roll home is not like heavy metal. That much is clear.
Right. It feels like there hasn't been a game-changing revolution in music for a while, especially in the rock arena.
Not since the 90s. Not since the early 90s with the alternative and grunge revolution. There hasn't been. I mean, the real revolution in modern music, I think, has really taken place in the hip hop and R&B, sector of it, and that's where that's where the revolution of music has taken place. It's what's popular, and it's but rock is sort of fallen by the wayside, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously. And every year and every decade, there's big acts, but it's kind of like, is there any substance to them?
Right.
Absolutely. I know, like Maroon 5, I'm not really a big fan, but they have been a huge band.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The White Stripes. I mean, now the White Stripes kind of got going back in the late 90s. I'm trying to think when their first album came out. I'm curious now. Let's go look it up. Yeah, I like the Stripes. I think Jack White's fantastic. And one of the reasons I like Jack White is because, man, if there's anybody that does their own thing, it's Jack White. I mean, Jack White just does what Jack White wants, and I respect that. 97 is when their first album came out, so most of their stuff has been throughout the 2000s, and he's still obviously performing solo. And I think Jack White's a fantastic musician, fantastic guitar player. I really like him. So
right. Well, we both are fans of Modest Mouse, and they got their start
absolutely
in the 90s and really
yeah.
blew up, in 2004 with Float On, that song.
Floated On, yeah.
Fake Jamaican.
Still laugh about that song. Fake Jamaican.
Yeah. Seems like, I mean, the music industry just...
But if, I think, it's like, I think it really became, the music industry has become an industry of singles, if that makes sense. Like the idea of the album has fallen by the wayside in favor of the singles. With all the streaming services, with Spotify, Pandora, and Apple Music, just you can go on and you don't have to listen to a whole album anymore. You can pick and choose what you listen to, and for better or for worse. I think it's hindered music in a way because there's no longer this like, I'm going to put my favorite album on. I'm going to put my favorite CD in, it's like, I'm just going to put my playlist on and listen to the countless different singles by all these artists,
Yeah. Like when iTunes came out and you were able just to buy one song.
Right. I love this song. I'm buying it.
Totally changed music.
Very much so. And I'm a big fan of albums, like you are, the vinyl collection continues to grow, and I love vinyl. Part of the reason I love vinyl is it's tangible, it's like it's such a weird feeling, but it's like you get to touch the music, you hold it, you put it down, you drop the arm.
liner notes, album covers,
right? The whole 9 yards.
lyrics.
And it's an experience, and and for me, that's what I like about music, and and so sometimes I think it's less about the musicians themselves and more about what the industry has become, you know. Because I'm saying there's good music out there that's still being produced, but it's just hard. It feels like you have to really go digging anymore because the stuff that gets the stuff that gets like mass produced, if you will, and like put out for consumption. I'm trying to think if there's anybody out there. It's like that I've heard recently. I was like, yes, 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 yes. For me, there's not. You know.
I mean, that could be a generational thing too, because like every generation's like the music that came before us sucks.
No,
we live in the now, and then the generation before is like the music today sucks. But
I will say this: I tell students the kind of stuff I listen to, and they're like, that's my favorite type of music. You know, there's still this incredible love for the '90s and the '90s, you know, alternative rock. That still kind of continues to be a major force in music.
Yeah.
So who is producing music right now? That's like that. Is there anybody that you think of that? It's like, because there's some bands that are still putting out music, like Jack White that I mentioned. You know, okay, so I love Gorillaz. I think Gorillaz are fantastic, but these are bands that got started 20 years ago. Like Gorillaz' first album turns 20 this year. You know, so these are bands that have been producing,
right?
And so,
I mean, like, there was a time in my life where I liked Coldplay. Not really. I mean, I'm not really a big fan anymore of them. Really, I just like Modest Mouse, and I like this band called Brand New. They're not really together anymore, but like as far as like today, I mean, I think Billie Eilish is really good, and I think The Weeknd is pretty cool.
But again, it's not what I would consider rock per se.
Right.
Billie Eilish might be the closest thing to kind of like I will, you know, give kudos to Billie Eilish for kind of having, she does her own thing. I'll give her that. And her music is definitely unique. It's original. And so.
Yeah, I know like what's the name of that band? Panic at the Disco was big for a while, but I mean bands come and go. I don't know. I just don't feel like I never listened to the radio ever. I like what I like.
Right.
And I stick with those bands.
I have one radio station in town I listen to, but it's because they rotate through, like they kind of rotate through the 90s up to the early 2000s, and then they go back again. And every now and then they'll throw something new in, and I'll be like, that's not bad, you know. But for the most part, they kind of tend to linger in that night, like that late that 90s and early 2000s, you know, arena.
Yep.
And so,
but like so like Spotify and Tidal, I guess, is one of them. But YouTube has totally changed. It's very on demand.
Yeah, that's
like the album. They still make albums, but that whole experience of going to the record store and getting one is just lost forever, probably.
It really is. I mean, for most people, like that, we have a really good record store in town but it's like, and they managed to stay alive. You know, they're like, but it's like there's room for one.
Right.
You know, there's room for one, and they stay alive, and they've got, you know, they bring in the new CDs, and now the vinyl has really kind of surged back, you know, so they've got a very large vinyl selection. But yeah, like for instance, like, okay, so the Killers have a new album out. I like the Killers a lot. I think the Killers are a good band. Their first is still gonna be my favorite. I think Hot Fuss is an absolute fantastic album. Listen to it a ton. And Stacy is she loves them, and but like I can't even find their new album. I can't even find it. It's hard to find.
Yeah, but you can get it on iTunes digitally.
Absolutely. Vampire Weekend, they're a great band. If you're like into, they like, you know, they have like indie pop sound and stuff, and I really like them too. There's some good bands out there.
Yeah, there are, and I guess if you're willing to search for it and sample a million of them, you'll find what you like. But
taste that? No, it's not for me.
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty about music. There is something there for everybody. But
yeah, there is. and it's, I think, for people like us, middle-aged guys. I can't. I'm not. I can't be old yet. I'll be middle-aged. I'll be middle-aged.
We're
I'll
middle-aged.
accept middle-aged. I'll accept middle-aged.
Right.
I'll accept that I'm middle-aged. For middle-aged guys like us, we just have to accept the fact that it's changing. It's not what it was when we were in college and in high school. When we wanted to go to a record store and wanted to get an album, wanted to get a CD, and just you'd play that CD over and over and over again, and it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, that's one. I guess the cool thing about music is that you can still listen to the old stuff.
Yeah,
like it'll not like. Yeah, I mean, but it's still all gonna be there.
Yeah.
Until the apocalypse happens, and then we'll only be able to listen to what has been made into a CD, a tape, or a vinyl, or an 8-track.
Right.
So
it's like you're running out the door. You can grab your record player and an album. It's like, oh God.
Right. Oh, 8-tracks. I never experienced that. I've seen them, of course, but
you know what? That 8-track's even after is like the 8-track came. I think the 8-track was like around like when I was but a wee lad, because I remember my grandfather had an 8-track player in his car, but like, by the time
giant
cassette. Oh man, like a brick,
Right.
Like my parents had we had a tape deck in the car.
Do you remember when the CDs first came out and they came out in this giant sleeves that were like a foot long, and then it was like people were complaining about how much waste environmentally it was to create them, and then they decided to get rid of it. But I remember that.
Yeah, and they were expensive too. Like with CDs, like you get a tape for like you get a tape for like $3 or $4, and man, CDs were so expensive. They were like $15 whole. So.
I don't know, man. You like what you like, but there is better music out there than today's music.
There really is. It's just it is interesting though, because like, for instance, my brother owns a sandwich shop at
Do you pay full price or you get a discount?
I'm not at liberty to speak about this.
Well, you should pay full price to support his business.
I'm not at liberty to speak about this on air.
Okay.
But my brother has a sandwich shop, and he makes a mean sandwich. So if you're ever in Bend, Oregon, you should.
Does he only make one, or does he have more?
Oh no.
He has a full menu, right?
He has a full menu. It's called Hogan's Hoagies, and it's legitimately like the best sandwich you'll ever have.
All
so if you're ever in Bend, you should check it out. There's my spiel for my brother. But but the place where he's got his shop at is a group of shops. So it's like a group of shops around it's this really cool thing, but regardless, they always have music going over the loudspeakers, and the people behind the counter that are pouring beers at the bar, they're the ones who control the music, and they're all 20, they're all 21, 23, 24, 25 years old. But 9 times out of 10, when I go in, the music that's playing is music from the 90s. It's very rare. It's very rarely anything modern. So
it was the greatest decade.
I think we've pretty much assessed that and come to that conclusion. So everything else is it's all crap. Yeah. But it is what it is. It is what it is. You think about we just last episode we talked about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they inducted the new class this year. Just the other day, and Foo Fighters are in, and some other bands from the 80s are in. But you think about the fact that to be eligible for inclusion into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like we talked about, 25 years from your first release, I mean, we're almost to a point where, man, we're old, where music released in 2000 is almost eligible for inclusion into the Rock Hall of Fame. It's like, so as we move forward, which newer bands have made a mark? I mean, who's made a mark since 2000? Like a real honest to God mark on music.
That's a tough one. I'm sure Coldplay will get in, and Maroon 5.
No, I'm sure.
But
I don't think Maroon 5 will get in.
Good.
I don't think so. I think I honestly, their first album was all right. It was not bad. But from there, something, they just like, we talked about selling out, and it's like, to me, they're sort of the essence of selling out, like, because their sound changed so drastically to go from being what was almost like an indie rock sound to become something that's so much more mass consumable. I don't know.
I think I'm having some internet issues here. All right, I'm back.
Oh, you're good.
Anyway,
you know, I really feel like an old man yelling at clouds right now.
Yeah, I know, right? All right. Well, music today, whatever you like it or you don't, doesn't matter. Listen to what you want to listen to, but we know what the best music is. So there you go.
We do. We're right.
All right, we're gonna end it there, but tune in a couple weeks for our season 2, where we're talking about the social issues in America.
Josh is gonna make me get serious about stuff.
We're gonna get serious, but
I don't want to get serious about stuff. That's where it takes work and thought, and I gotta really put some.
We'll go back to something fun in season 3, but
okay.
Enjoy the show. See y'all later. Peace out.
Later on.